Hello, hope you are doing well today. My name is Alina, and in this video we will learn how to use relative clauses. And before we begin, let's take a look at the following conversation. Dad, who is a lecturer? Someone who talks to you in your sleep or makes you sleep. Who is a relative pronoun, and who talks to you in your sleep or makes you sleep is a relative clause. All relative clauses are used to provide more information about a person, a thing, a place, or a time period. We use who when we are talking about people, like in this example. Now let's take a look at another conversation. What do you call a boomerang which doesn't come back? A stick. Can you find a relative clause here? Which doesn't come back. And it gives more information about a boomerang. In this case, we are talking about an object. And with objects, we use the relative pronoun which. Now here is a joke for you. What do you call a cow that fell in a hole? A holy cow. We can also use that instead of which, like in this example, or instead of who, like in the next example. Let's check what you know about humans. How do people call someone that speaks two languages? Bilingual. Good. And how do you call someone that speaks three languages? Trilingual. Not really, we call them polyglots. But anyway, the point is that you can use that instead of which or instead of who to refer to people or things. Can you guess which relative pronoun we use when we talk about places? A bus station is a place where a bus stops. A train station is a place where a train stops. On my desk, I have a workstation. What more can I say? Of course, we use where to refer to places. Here is another example. That awkward moment when you can't stop laughing in a serious situation. Here we are talking about a moment, and a moment is a time period. So when we want to refer to a time period, we use the relative pronoun when. Now let's try to join two sentences using relative clauses. We need to turn these two sentences into one by using an appropriate relative pronoun. This is a house. I live here. Now let's take a look at the second sentence. I live here. The question to this sentence would be, where do I live? So if we ask where, we are asking for a place. So here we need to connect these two sentences using the relative pronoun that we use to refer to places, which is where. So we will get, this is the house where I live. Notice that we no longer need to add here. Also notice that when we describe something by using a relative clause, we use the article there and not a. Let's try another one. Here we are giving more information about a nurse, and she is a person. So we need to use the relative pronoun who. And we will get, she is the nurse who took care of me when I was sick. Notice that when we join two sentences with a relative pronoun, we no longer use the subject she. And once again, notice that a nurse became the nurse. Okay, let's try the last one. Here we are giving extra information about a cat. It's a cat. We found it on the street last year. So we need the relative pronoun which. We can also use that instead of which. This is the cat that we found on the street last year. Let's try the last one. I was born in 1935. At the time, there were no mobile phones or personal computers. Now, if we take a look at the second sentence, at that time there were no mobile phones or personal computers, we can ask the question, when were there no mobile phones or personal computers? So here we are talking about a time period. We are referring to a time period. So we need the relative pronoun when. And we will get, I was born in 1935 when there were no mobile phones or personal computers. Notice that we no longer need the phrase at that time because when already means absolutely the same. Now it's your turn. You will see two sentences on the screen. Rewrite them as one sentence using relative clauses. Ready? Here is the one for you. Chia is a small town. My grandparents live there. Here we are talking about a town, and a town is a place. My grandparents live there. We can ask, where do your grandparents live? So be careful with the choice of a relative pronoun. Pause the video if you need more time. And you should get, Chia is a small town where my grandparents live. Notice that we no longer use there because where replaces it. Let's try another one. Here we are talking about the time period 2013. So be careful with the choice of a relative pronoun. Once again, pause the video if you need more time. And you should get, this photo was taken in 2013 when I won a swimming competition. Once again, we drop that year because we no longer need it, because when replaces this information. Okay, let's try another one. Li's place is a store. It sells all sorts of fruits and vegetables. Be careful with this one, because here a store is not a place, because in the second sentence we cannot ask where sells all sorts of fruits. We ask what sells all sorts of fruits and vegetables. So here it's an object, and we need to join the sentences with which. Li's place is a store which sells all sorts of fruit and vegetables. We can also use that instead of which. Okay, let's try the last one. A man was doing exercises. He used to be a police officer. Here we are giving more information about a person. Once again, pause the video if you need more time. And when you are ready, you should get, the man who used to be the police officer was doing exercises. Once again, please notice that we use the definite article there and not a. Here we have two possible options. You can say the man who was doing exercises used to be a police officer, or the man who used to be a police officer was doing exercises. There is absolutely no difference in meaning as long as you use the relative pronoun who. Hope you've got it. That's it for today. Go to Virtual Savannah to practice more and to take your skills to the next level. Have a good one. Bye bye.